Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing a guide on Freyna. Freyna has been for a long time one of the strongest descendants in the game, especially when it comes to mobbing. And realistically, that hasn't changed very much. So with the recent balance patches to Inez, you're starting to see an uptick in a lot of other descendants, and Freyna is slowly creeping her way back into the meta. So having said all that, let's hop into the guide. So Freyna is more of a skill-based descendant, and because of that, when we use her weapons, we're typically going to use them more as a stat stick. And the best stat stick for Freyna is actually the Secret Garden. I'm going to go ahead and show you the cores and the role on mine, but at the end of the day, you are using this primarily as a stat stick, so you're only really carrying it for the special bonuses that the gun itself gives. As you can see here, when you use a tech skill, you get the unique ability Pest Control. And what Pest Control does is it increases your skill power per stack, and this is going to make her skills do even more damage. And that's why we carry this weapon on her and we don't really fire it. We just make sure it's in her main hands when she's using her skills. Now, while Freyna does really excel at doing skill damage, she does kind of lack when it comes to taking out the bosses. So when it comes time to take out the bosses, and we'll talk a little bit more in her skill loop about how to do that with her skills, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and have a high DPS weapon on you, just in case you're not able to burn out these bosses with your skills. Now, right now in the current sandbox, the last dagger is pretty much the go-to weapon when it comes to spike damage on your off weapon. Now, what really makes this weapon sing is the cores being added on it, and then some very specific mods. So as you can see here, we do have some cores added on this weapon. We went ahead and did 2 fire rate, we did 2 firearm attack, and 1 critical hit damage. The reason the gun is built like this is because we do like it to be a very general damage weapon. This is one of those weapons that you can put on a lot of different characters and take into a lot of different content, and it's still going to sing and do a lot of damage. Now when it comes to the roll on this, we do have as much additional damage as we can get on it. Now one thing you'll notice here is I do have bonus damage versus Colossus. You could actually roll this off for additional crit hit rate. I like the bonus damage on Colossus on here because I do actually use this gun when it comes time to take on Colossus, and this just makes it have a little bit more bite to it when we go in there. But at the end of the day, if you're not using this so much for Colossus and you just want it to do even better in the current content, go ahead and knock that off for a little bit of crit hit rate. Now when it comes to the mods for this weapon, we do have it built out, but we don't have that many catalysts on it. The whole reason for that is we were trying to make this a general purpose weapon, and we didn't want to have to invest too much in it because we're only using it for spike damage on bosses and Colossus. So as you can see here, we do have some base damage on it. We do have some weak point damage, a lot of crit hit damage, some fire rate, and then the main mod on here is Firing Fiesta. We really like Firing Fiesta because it allows us to have a burst damage window where no ammo is consumed. And the way that that works is you pull this gun out, you pop a couple shots off, and then you reload it. And then after that, you get a limited time window where you can just unload a lot of damage. And that is how we use this weapon. We pull it out, we pop some shots, we get that unlimited ammo, and then we put it back up and we keep working and we wait to get that window again. Typically, you're going to kill whatever you're shooting at, or at least get it into the next phase every time you pull this weapon out. The other thing to note here is that we do actually have room on here for an element type. Right now we have fire enhancement on here, but as you can tell, we're not capped on our module capacity. So you can rotate this out for whatever element you need for the content you're going up against. So when it comes to her reactor, I will say you are going to want to have a tech reactor on her. Your optimized condition, you will want it to be attack rifle because you are going to be carrying the Secret Garden. You can put handgun on there as well, just so you have it rounded out really nice for when you pull your last dagger out. Now, when it comes to the roll down bottom, this is where things can get a little bit up to you. So for me, I would want skill cooldown and skill tech power boost ratio. As you can see, my reactor doesn't actually have that. Now, with the updates coming out here soon, I haven't bothered to go get new reactors because I'm just going to wait until we can re-roll them in the new system. But ideally, from talking to the community, one of the best rolls you can get down there will be tech boost and toxic boost. You don't really need the cooldown. That's just a personal preference for myself. Now for the components, we're going to go ahead and use our tried and true Slayer set here for right now. We do know there are going to be some new component sets coming out here within the next couple weeks, And if any of those are better for her than these current sets, we will go ahead and update the guide and we will put the new sets in there. But for now, definitely go ahead and go with the tried and true Slayer set. On this, you're really going to want to focus on getting MP, MP recovery, and max MP on the 3 components that you can actually get that on. So the 3 components that you will be able to get that on will be the top 3 components. The only one that you can actually get MP and MP recovery on is the second component, which I believe is the sensor. Down bottom for your processor, you cannot get MP on it, so you're just going to want to go with shield and shield recovery down there. That's going to give you a little bit of survivability. With Freyna being a character that still uses MP and not a special resource, you want to be able to get her MP back as fast as possible, and having all that extra MP and MP recovery on here will make her just feel that much better for you. And when you mix that with the mods we have on her, she's going to feel really good to play. Now for her inversion reinforcements, we are going to go ahead and go with something that you will be seeing on a lot of our builds right now. While the inversion tree does have a lot of really good things on it, for the most part, these are the ones that I put on a lot of my Descendants. We're going to be looking at Arche Circulation Tactic, Selective Neurostimulation, and Biodensity Augmentation. So what this is going to do is this is going to help decrease your cooldown time while giving you a little bit more HP and give you a random chance to recover MP. This isn't going to be a game changer, but these are just quality of life things that make the character feel that much better to play. So for the Arche Tuning, this is the tree I'm going to recommend. What we're trying to do here is just get the cost down, get a little bit of MP back, a little bit of MP recovery, really crank that power, get a little bit of cooldown, and slap on a little bit of duration. Overall, these things aren't a huge game changer for Freyna, but they do make her feel just that much more oppressive on the battlefield, which is always nice. Freyna didn't need a whole lot, and this just takes her at a base 8 and pushes her up to be that level 10 Descendant and keep her in that S tier where she belongs. For her fellow, we are just going to go ahead and use the Hagios Sheepdog. This dog is really decent. I don't want to say great because none of the fellows are really that awesome. But with Freyna, since we're not going to be using any heavy ammo, we're going to gain more of a benefit from this dog. This dog is going to help keep your health topped up a little bit. And while Freyna is a little bit squishy, this is going to help offset that. It's not going to be a game changer, so if you want to use the other dog, definitely go for it. Just use whatever dog you have unlocked, because at the end of the day, their benefit really isn't that big on this character. All right, so when it comes to the mods on Freyna, this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to build around Contagion. So what we're working on here is trying to get her cooldown down just a little bit and her duration up just a little bit. We're not going heavy in these, but we want to try to have parity, or at least as close as we can. That way, if for whatever reason we just miss a throw, we're not waiting on getting it back. So while it's not 100% uptime, it's pretty close, and with the duration being there and the chances of something getting poisoned, it's not a huge negative that it's not 100%. Outside of that, we are adding a little bit of range just to make it a little bit more forgiving. We are giving her some HP, and then we're focusing on a ton of damage. Decimator really helps with this because as her skills ramp up, you're going to get a really nice damage spike because you're going to be killing so many things. And then we are putting MP Collector on here just to help with some of the MP issues you might have. MP Collector is not always mandatory on this build, and if you feel that you're not having MP issues, you can always look at replacing that for one of a dozen mods that really suit your playstyle. It does leave it a little bit open-ended here for some customization if you want more range or more cooldown, or if you can find something else that really complements how you want to play Freyna. The main skills we're going to focus on when it comes to mobbing is Freyna's 1 and her 3. The big difference here is her 1 has less duration, but it has more damage on impact, or at least on explosion. Her 3 does not have as much damage on impact or explosion, but it does do more tick damage and it does last longer. So for your gameplay loop, you actually are going to want to use both of these at the same time, because the enemies take damage from both of your skills. One is a toxic puddle and one is a toxic swamp. And your goal is to try to keep them encased in both of these until they die. Now the last part of Freyna's kit we're going to talk about is her 4. This weapon does a really good amount of damage, and it's what you should be using when you get to the end of the match and you are going up against the bosses. All you need to do is find a boss that you want to go up against, hit your 4, and it's going to switch over to the other weapon. After that, just go ahead and unload on the enemy, and as you can see, we're doing an absolute ton of damage. Now, what I will say is, there are ways to build this gun out to have more rounds and to make it more effective. But at the end of the day, we're not realistically using that part of the kit, and I don't want you to spend additional resources just to make this gun perform a little bit better. What I would suggest is if you don't kill the enemy with your 4, go ahead and pull out your last dagger, pop a couple shots off to the side, reload, and then just unload on the enemy with this. As you can see, we did a good amount of damage and it didn't really cost us anything. Alright guys, and that's it. That's everything you need to know about how to play Freyna. This is a character that used to be really strong in the sandbox and was a meta Descendant, but got eclipsed when some power creeping, when it happened in the sandbox. She is still a very good Descendant and somebody that I would suggest that you have in your roster. As times move forward, there's probably going to be a good use case for having different mobbing Descendants of different element types, and Freyna is very good at what she does. The build we gave you here is a very robust build that lets you mob with the best of them and still put in good damage at the end of the map, which makes her one of the best characters in the game. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Should we have built more into her 4, or do you think this build really works well? Is there another build that you like to use with Freyna? Is there something that we should do different just to make her that much better? At the end of the day, all of this information is great for the community and it helps us build the best characters possible. And if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out and it helps get my videos in the algorithm, and I definitely appreciate that. Also, if you want to get to know me and the community more, consider coming over and checking our live channel out on Twitch. We stream 5 days a week. We play a lot of First Descendant and we do play some other games, and we would love to have you there. But having said all that, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.